Hello students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of MMPC 16 International Business Management. In previous session we have discussed about international business management, what is the meaning of this and what is the role of this globalization, how globalization affects international business enterprises. In today's session we will discuss about international trade theory. In this international trade theories, there are different theories of international trade like classical international trade theories and modern international trade theories. In classical theories, Adam Smith, David Ricardo theories are most important. According to classical economics, international trade is based on specialization and division of labor. You know that at present, all the economies are open economies. All economies have relationship with rest of the world. And all economies are doing international trade, means exports and imports. Most of the countries are engaged in this trade and most of the countries are the member countries of WTO, means World Trade Organization. According to classical economics, international trade has main three theories. Number one is it is based on absolute advantage cost theory. Number two is comparative cost advantage theory. Number three is equal cost advantage theory. And other theory which is based on this international trade, that is called Hexter-Ohlin theory, which is based on factor endowments. Number one theory is, which was earlier existed, that was mercantile theory. In this theory, we can trade goods and services to the rest of the world as per our requirements, as per our need. So in today's session, we will discuss about Block 2, international trade, different theories of international trade, role of WTO, and different trading blocks, original blocks, which helps in this international trade. So let us start from first topic. You know that international business is affected by so many and different dimensions of environment. International business environment are basically, we can classify into four main categories. Number one is geographical environment. Number two is economic environment. Number three is cultural and social factors. And number four is political and legal factors. International trade and international business affected by these businesses environment. In geographical environment, we include climate, natural resources, agricultural products, and terrain, seaways, etc. In economic environment, it includes types of economic system, in which there are three types of economic system. Number one is capitalism, number two is socialism, and number three is mixed economy. In capitalist economic system, all the economic resources, all the means of productions are owned by private entrepreneurs. In socialism system, all the factors of production or means of production are owned by government or by state. And in mixed economic system, which exists in India economy, that is the combination of capitalism and socialism. In mixed economic system, there is a coexistence of private sector and public sector, or capitalistic economic system and socialistic economic system. Next is economic. In economic environment, we include education level. Education level also affects international business enterprises. Types of industries. There are different types of industries like small scale industries, large scale industries, medium sized industries, and cottage or tiny industries. We can classify these industries according to the investment level. Small scale industries are those industries in which investment limit is 1 crore up to 5 crore. Large scale industries has no limit of investment. You can invest any amount of money in big or large industries. In medium scale industries, there is a investment limit criteria is 5 crore up to 10 crore. And for tiny industries or cottage industries, in which family members may be engaged for productive activities, in this investment limit is at present near about 25 lakh. Different types of industries. And next is technology. Technology is also included in economic environment because technology affects business enterprises. If we use modern technologies, if we use advanced technologies, if technical upgradation exists in our country, then it will definitely helps in international business environment. Next is cultural and social factors. What are the cultural and social factors which influence international business enterprises? That is language, education level, religion, values, customs, and social relationship. You know, each and every country, there is a different or diversity in their ethnic groups, in languages, in their education level, their religion are also very different. Values, customs, social relationship, all these things influence international business. That's why we must have to study about these cultural and social factors. Next is political and legal factors. In political and legal factors, it includes types of government. There are different types of government like democratic government, autocratic government, and military government. There are different types of government which exist in different countries. Political stability. If there is a political stability in an economy, then it helps in international business enterprises. And if there is political disturbances exist in our country or in any country, then it affects badly or adversely to their international business enterprises. And next is government policies towards businesses. What type of policies government is adopting for encouraging business enterprises? If government is making that type of policy which encourage international business enterprises, which supports international businesses, then international businesses will grow rapidly. On the other hand, if government policies are not supported to these business enterprises, then we can't expand our business enterprises internationally or globally. So all these factors influenced influence international business enterprises. Next is elements of international business environment. There are different dimensions, there are different elements of business environment or international business environment. One is geographic factor, cultural factor, we have discussed now, economic factors, and political and legal factors. Next is the next geographic condition which mainly affects economic, which affects international business enterprises. Geographic conditions, cultural, political, and economic. Next is international business environment and political environment. It involves government interferences, legal restrictions, political risk, and support and offers received from government. You know that international business is operating internationally or globally. If any business enterprises operate not only in domestic territory, their business limit is not only lie in domestic territory. If we are expanding our business enterprises internationally or globally, that is called international business. An international business environment is operating environment of a business. It is more volatile in nature. And there are different components of international business environment. Number one is political environment, which involves government policies, government interferences, legal restrictions, political stability or instability, political risk, and supports and offers received from government. Next is economic environment. It focuses on factors like economic growth of a country, GDP, which is gross domestic product, and per capita income, infrastructure, tax structure, and so on. All these factors affects international business enterprises. Next is technological environment. Technological environment also includes in economic environment. Technological development, technological upgradation, and its acceptance highly impact the gains of a business enterprises. Cultural environment includes general beliefs and values depending on history, language, religion of a country. And next is competitive environment. At present, we are living in this competitive environment. Competition level in a country depends on several factors like economic, political, and cultural environment. And how we can get benefit from this international business environment. This helps in the development of global village. It facilitates transfer of capital, human capital, ideas, and information. And it is helpful in effective utilization of resources. We know that resources are always in scarce or in limited quantity. So we should use effectively and we should use efficiently all the available limited resources in such a way so that we can satisfy maximum needs of the country people. Employment opportunities at one stage, if we want to improve, then this business international business environment helps in generating employment opportunities at world level. It stabilizes the prices of goods and services. You know that international trade stabilizes the price. If in our country prices are more, then we can import goods and services from rest of the world. And if in our country prices are less, then we can export goods and services to the rest of the world. In this way, prices can be stabilized. So international trade benefits is that price will remain stable or constant. Next is technological development. International trade also helps in improving technical development or enhancement. So these are the benefits of international trade or international business environment. Now, what is the importance of business environment? It helps in conducting business operations smoothly without any disturbances, without any barriers or restrictions, and we can follow different strategies for making more profits. It gives us depth knowledge about business enterprises. It tells us about market potential, how much potential exists in market. It helps in adopting marketing mix. It helps in to keep pace with dynamism. We know that at present all the economies are living in a dynamic world. We are not in a static situation. Everything is going to change. So, in dynamic world, how we can cope up with these dynamic situations to ourselves. So it helps in this dynamic situation how to handle it. And it is very easy to identify controllable and uncontrollable factors. So these are the importance of this international trade or international business environment. Next is international trade theories, which is the most important part of this block 2, international trade. International trade theory based on demand conditions and relating and supporting industries. You know that demand play very important role in international trade. If there is a more demand for our country's product, then we can do more exports. If there is no demand exist in all over the world, then how we can sell, how we can export our goods and services to the rest of the world. So demand condition means the nature of home demand for the industry's product or services influences the development of capabilities. Sophisticated and demanding customers pressure firms to be competitive. Demand encourage suppliers or producers to produce more goods and services. If there is a lack of demand, then producer will discourage to produce goods and services. So if there is a more demand, then producer will encourage to produce more goods and services, and then we can do more exports to the rest of the world. So nature of home demand for the industry's product or services helps in increasing the production level in our country, and it gives pressure to the firms to be more competitive. Next is relating and supporting industries. The presence of supplier industries and related industries that are internationally competitive can spill over and contribute to other industries. Successful industries tend to be grouped in clusters or in groups. In countries having world class manufacturers of semiconductor processing equipment can lead to a competitive semiconductor industry, and to be having a result of having a competitive semiconductor industry, it means some industries are called big industries or large scale industries. They need some helping industries which can help to encourage these industries so that these industries can produce large products or in large quantity of products in economy. So supporting industries are known as ancillary industries or subsidiary industries. So presence of supplier industry and related industry helps internationally to live how to survive in this internationally competitive world, and we can spread spillover effect all over the world of these industries. Next is theories of international trade. There are different theories of international trade which we can classify into two main broad categories. One is country based theories, number two is firm based theories. Number one, which is country based theories, in which country's unit of analysis emerged prior to World War II, developed to by economists, explain re explain inter-industry trade. It includes different theories of international trade like mercantile theory, absolute advantage theory, comparative cost advantage theory, and relative factor endowment, which was given by Hexter and Ohlin, and absolute cost advantage and comparative cost advantage theory was given by Adam Smith and David Ricardo. Next is firm based theories. In firm based theories, firm is the main unit of analysis. It also emerged after World War II or Second. It is developed by business schools professors. It explains intra industry trade. It includes country similarity theory, product life cycle theory, global strategic rivalry, and national competitive advantage theory. So, theories of international trade can be broadly classified into two main categories: country based theories and firm based theories, which are very important and which helps in understanding this concept of international trade. Now, international trade theory, an overview of this trade theory, that is free trade. There are two different concepts. One is free trade concept and another is protective trade policy. Government can follow either free trade policy or protective trade policy. What is the meaning of free trade policy? Free trade, it is clear by its name. If there is no restriction, if there is no barrier while doing international trade, like exports and imports, that is called free trade. So, free trade refers to a situation where a government does not attempt to influence through quotas or limits or import export duties. So, what its citizens can buy from another country or what they can produce and sell to another country. It means if government will not impose any import export duties, any restrictions or barriers or any import quota, then country people can freely exports and imports goods and services to and from rest of the world. So this situation is called free trade. Next is theories of international trade is based on some different questions. Like what are the main bases for trade? Why does international trade take place? Under what condition international trade take place? And what is the main reason behind this international trade and what benefits we can get while doing international trade? And what is the pattern of trade or composition of trade? What types of goods and services we are trading, we are exporting or importing from and to rest of the world? So what commodities are traded, which commodities are imported and exported by a nation? And what is terms of trade? Terms of trade generally tells us about the condition of price of exports and price of import. It is the ratio of export price index and import price index, or prices of exports divided by prices of imports multiplied by 100. So what are the terms of trade? It may be favorable, it may not be favorable. So if terms of trades are favorable, if export price is more than import prices, then terms of trade will be called favorable and it will give benefit to country. So each and every country want to get more and more benefit from international trade. So if terms of trade are favorable, then country will engage or involve in this international trade. If terms of trades are unfavorable, then international trade will adversely affected, and it depends upon price of exports and price of imports. If price of exports are more than price of imports, then terms of trade will be called favorable and vice versa. So international trade theory is based on these different questions. Why international trade take place? Under what condition? What benefits we can get from international trade? What is the pattern of trade? And what are the main terms of trade? Next is international trade theory. The main focus is on managerial implications. There are at least three main implications for international businesses. One is local, locational, or geographical implication. Second is first mover implication. And third is policy implications. So, these three implications are included in this international business or international trade theories, which can arise at any time. Number one is locational implication. One way in which the material discussed matters to an international business is the link between the theories and a firm decisions about where to locate its productive activities. It makes sense for a firm to disperse its various productive activities to those countries where they can be performed most efficiently. In some countries, they are rich in natural resources. So they can export these natural resources to those countries who don't have these natural resources. So location and geographical condition is the main important factor which affects international trade. Next is benefits of trade, how we can get benefit from international trade. The theories of Adam Smith, Ricardo, and Hexter and Ohlin show why it is beneficial for a country to engage in international trade. Even for products it is able to produce for itself. If we are able to produce goods and services for our country people, then why we produce more and why we engage in international trade? International trade, which is based on specialization and division of labor, and it is affected by so many factors like natural factors, climate, geographical conditions, location, and global relationship. If all these technological advancements, capital, and labor resources, availability of these resources, so many factors affects international trade. And international trade allows a country to specialize in the manufacture and export of products that can be produced most efficiently in that country and import those products that can be produced more efficiently in other countries. For example, in India, agriculture, you know that India is a predominant agriculture based economy. And in India, agriculture production remains in abundant quantity. But due to lack of capital formation and due to lack of some technological advancement, we produce less industrial product but produce more agricultural products. So we can export these agriculture products to those nations who are not able to produce agriculture product in large quantity. And we can import industrial product or other products which are less in quantity in our country. For example, in India, India has very less quantity of crude oil. That's why India is the major importer of crude oil from OPEC countries like Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arab, Saudi Emirat, Kuwait, Libya, Venezuela, Algeria, Nigeria, etc. These all countries are OPEC countries, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. They have in abundant quantity of petrol or crude oil. So they can export crude oil to those nations who don't have these natural resources, and they can buy agriculture product, they can buy those product which they cannot produce in their own country. So international trade gives benefit to all the countries for exporting and importing goods and services. It helps in stabilizing the price. It improves economic relationship. It improves cooperative behavior. It improves globalization, and it also encourage technical advancement. It enhance labor efficiency, and it also reduce the problem of underproduction and overproduction. Demand will remain equals to supply. If you are able to produce more goods, then you can export these goods to the other countries. Then no problem of surplus will arise. And if there is a deficiency in our country of any product, then we can import goods and services from rest of the world. So no problem of underproduction, no problem of overproduction will arise if we enter in this, if we involve in this international trade or international businesses. So international trade allow a country to specialize in the manufacturing or exporting those goods which they can produce most efficiently, and they can import those goods from another country in which they don't have more efficiency. So in this way, exports and imports maybe exist, and it will help in different countries or globally for getting more advantages for this international from this international trade. Next is new trade theories. There are different, the different gains. There are different types of gains which can be made from specialization and increasing economic relationship with other countries. The companies first to the market can create barriers to entry. First mover advantage means we can get benefit from first mover advantage if we invent or if we innovate new things, then we can produce in large quantity and we can export these goods to the other countries, then we can get first mover advantage from this international trade. And government may play very important role in assisting its home or domestic companies. So international trade theories are classified into two main broad categories. One is country based, next is firm based, and another two categories are classical trade theories and new trade theories. In classical trade theories, Adam Smith, Ricardo, and Hexter and Olin, J.S. Mill, different theories play very important role to understand this concept. And in new trade theories, in this first mover advantage and specialization and role of government affects uh, importantly or in different aspects to the international trade. Next concept is WTO. What is the meaning of this WTO? Because when we enter in this international trade, then we must have to understand what role played by WTO and what are the different regional blocks. WTO is World Trade Organization. It is an international organization. Its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. At present, the member countries of WTO is near about 160 or more than 160. Official languages English, French, Spanish, and it is governed by ministerial conference meets every 2 years. It has general council, implements conferences, policy decisions, responsible for day-to-day administration. And WTO, which made in 1995, World Trade Organization. Earlier it was known by GATT, GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, which was made in 1947, and India was the founder member of GATT. In this, each agreement was called a round. Organization for Liberalizing Trade. It provides terms and conditions for doing smoothly exports and imports to the rest of the world. It sets some rules and regulations while doing international trade. It is a negotiating forum and it helps in settlement of disputes which arises while doing international trade. And whole world 192 countries and more than 160 countries are the member countries of WTO. Trade policies, World Trade Organization, agreements on agriculture, export competition after the Nairobi Ministerial Conference. Export subsidies, which were mostly used by developed countries in the past, are a market distorting instrument of agriculture supports with negative implications of trading partners and world markets. WTO mainly recommended some suggestions to the member countries how they can do smoothly international trade to the rest of the world or with the rest of the world. In this, WTO sometimes recommended to provide more export subsidies and to put some restrictions or import duties or import quotas like tariff barriers, which is known as tariff barriers. So, generally, WTO recommended all these terms and conditions for making this whole process smoothly. But sometimes WTO favors their most favored nation or developed countries, and is their policies do bias with developing countries and give favor to developed countries. There are different types of agreements on which WTO works. Number one is agreement on agriculture. Number two is agreement on textile and clothing. Number three is agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures. Number four is agreements on anti-dumping. Dumping is a process. Dumping is a system in which one country sell its product in their domestic country at higher price and at world level it charge lower price. If countries sell their product in their domestic country at higher price and in world market at lower price, that is called dumping. But this is very bad situation. If in our country goods are produced, then we must get these goods at lower price. But if producer are charging higher price from their domestic country people and selling their product in world market at lower price, that is dumping. So WTO uh, make this agreement on anti-dumping or to restrict this system. Next is agreement on safeguards, agreement on trade related investment, which is known as TRIMS, agreement on custom valuation, agreement on technical barriers to trade, and on sanitary and phytosanitary measures, agreement on trade related intellectual property right, which is known as TRIPS, TRIPS, trade related intellectual property right. General agreement on trade in services, which is known as GATS. G is general, A is agreement, T is trade, S is in services. Next is understanding on dispute settlement, which is a main board which is set by WTO for settle down all the disputes which arises while doing international trade, and special and differential treatment made by WTO for developed countries and developing countries. So these are the main agreements on which WTO works. WTO is an organization for liberalizing trade, a forum for governments to negotiate trade agreements and settle down trade disputes. It is guided by agreements negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world's trading nations or trading partners. It covers trade in goods, services, and intellectual property. It born in 1995. Previously, it was known as GATT, General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, provided the rules and regulations of international trade. 160 members as of 2014, but most decisions made by G7, means group of 7 countries like Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, and USA. Next is structure of WTO agreements. Basic structure of WTO agreements, how the 6 main areas fit together under the umbrella of WTO agreements: goods, services, trade related intellectual property rights, dispute settlement, and trade policy reviews. Basic principles are GATT is General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs. Services, under this GATS, General Agreement on Trade in Services. And intellectual property, this agreement is known as TRIPS, Trade Related Intellectual Property Right. Addition detail is other goods agreement like agreement on clothing, agreement on agriculture product, agreement on investment. All these are also included in this WTO. And WTO also settle down the disputes which sometimes arises while doing international trade. And transparency for making this whole system, in a transparent way, trade policies review. Next is regional blocks. It is also in block 2 and unit 6. Regional blocks. Regional blocks. Its introduction is after the Second World War. Regional economic integration of trading blocks emerged as a new idea for expansion of foreign trade among the developing countries. Economic integration. You know that globalization is the process in which we can integrate our economy with the rest of the world. So, economic integration, the term economic integration is commonly used to refer the agreements between countries which remove artificial trade barriers like tariffs, tariff means import duties, and quantitative restrictions like quotas, and leads to liberalized trade agreements. So, regional blocks or regional economic integration, this arises after the World War II. The need of regional bloc, when the need of regional bloc arise after the World War II, and it gives a new idea for expansion of foreign trade among the developing countries. Types of trade blocs. There are different types of trade blocs. Number one is free trade area. NAFTA is North American Free Trade Area. SARC is the South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. Custom Union, Common Market, Economic Union. These different are called trade blocs. What is the main aim of these trade blocs or regional trade blocs, and what is the purpose behind this, the origin of these trade blocs? The main purpose of this trade bloc is to accelerate the economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region through joint endeavors in the spirit of equality and partnership in order to strengthen the foundation for a prosperous and peaceful community of Southeast Asian nation. To promote regional peace and stability through abiding respect for justice and the rule of law in the relationship among countries of the different regions, and adherence to the principle of United Nations Charter. To promote active collaboration and mutual assistance on matters of common interest in the economic, social, cultural, technical, scientific, and administrative fields. It provides assistance to each other in the form of training and research facilities in the educational, professional, technical, and administrative spheres. So, this is the main aim of this ASEANs, ASEAN. This is also a regional bloc or trading bloc, which main purpose is to maintain regional peace, stability, justice, and partnership among all the nations who engaged in this international trade. It also provides assistance to each other in form of research facilities, educational, professional, technical, cultural, administrative, and in different aspects. Regional blocs in international trade. In this, SARC, OPEC, and EU. A regional trading bloc is a group of countries within a geographical region that protect themselves from imports from non-members. In general terms, regional trade blocs are association of nations at a government level to promote trade within the bloc and defend its member against global competition. Defense against Global competition is obtained through established tariffs or putting some restrictions on import quotas and import duties produced by member states, import quotas, government subsidies, bureaucratic import process, and technical and other non tariff barriers. Since trade is not an isolated activity, member states within regional blocs are cooperate in economic, social, political, climatic, and other issues affecting the region. In terms of their size, trade values, there are four major trade blocs and a larger number of blocs of regional importance. These four types of trading blocks are: number one is preferential trading area, number two is free trade area, number three is custom union, number four is common market. Number one is preferential trade area. This PTA is preferential trade area, which is the first main step towards making a full fledged RTB regional trading blocks exist when countries of a particular geographical region agree to decrease or eliminate tariffs of selected goods and services imported from other member of the area. And you know that free trade area is just like PTA or preferential trade area, but in FTA, free trade area, the participating countries agree to remove all the barriers or restrictions to trade all types of goods and services among the member or participating countries. Custom union is a custom union has no tariff barrier between members, plus they agree to a common or unified external tariffs against non-members. Effectively, the members are allowed to negotiate as a single block with third parties, including other trading blocks or with the WTO. And next is common market. Common market is an exclusive economic integration. The member countries trade freely all types of economic resources, not just tangible goods. They can export or import intangible items like services. All barriers to trade in goods, services, capital, labor are removed in common market. In addition to tariffs, non-tariff barriers are also diminished or decreased or removed in common market. Next is, what is the main advantages of regional trading blocks? The main advantages of regional trading blocks are: number one is FDI, foreign direct investment. FDI can be increased and multinational corporations can expand their business enterprises in different parts of the world, different countries of the world. FDI is foreign direct investment in which foreign companies can invest their money, they can bring their own capital, they can start their business enterprises in each and every country where they wish to uh, enhance their business enterprises. Next is economies of scale. If any firm or a company is expanding its business enterprises, then firm will get economies of scale by expanding their business enterprises in large scale. Economies of scale means mm, benefits from large scale business enterprises. It may be internal or it may be external. So all types of benefits we can get after entering or after expanding our business enterprises. More competition will increase. If competition exists in an economy, then quality will also improve. And trade effects, it will give positive trade effects. It will enhance business activities or producing more goods and services in each and every country. Market efficiency will also exist while entering this regional trading blocks. So these are the main benefits of regional trading blocks. Number one is FDI, number two is economies of scale, number three is competition, number four is trade effects, And number five is market efficiency. Next is trade bloc around the world. There are different types of trade blocs around the world, like European Union, African Union, Union of South American Nation, Caribbean Community, Central American Integration System, Arab League, European Free Trade Agreements, European Economic Community, Eurasian Economic Community, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, Central European Free Trade Agreements, North American Free Trade Agreements, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation is SARC, and Pacific Island Forum, that is known as PIF. These are different trade blocs around the world. Next is global trade. What is the meaning of this global trade? This global trade, you know that at present we are living in this globalized world. And globalization refers to the process of integrating our economy with the rest of the world. And India adopted this globalization in new economic policy of 1991. In 1991, you know that India adopted LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And we have liberalized our economy, we have opened our economy, and we have decreased or eliminate all the restrictions, all the barriers which earlier restricted our international trade. So at present, we are we have entered in this global trade. So global trade is the exchange of goods and services between countries. Also, global trade could be taken in the context that there are no barriers to trade, thus, there is global free trade between countries. So, globalization is a very broader concept. In this concept, we can freely export or import goods and services without any restrictions, without any barriers to the rest of the world. Not only goods and services can flow to the other nation, investment can also move from one country to another country. Labor can also move from one country to another country. Cultural and languages, thoughts, ideas can also move from one country to another country. So, global trade could be taken in the context that there are no barriers to trade, thus, there is a global free trade between countries. So, in today's session, we have discussed about international trade theories. International trade theories and why people entered in this, why entered in this international trade, what are the main advantages of international trade. International trade means when we are exporting or importing goods and services with the rest of the world. If we export goods and services, then we will get foreign exchange, where our foreign exchange reserves will rise. If we import goods and services, then money outflow will rise. If imports are greater than export, then balance of payment will be in disequilibrium situation. And this disequilibrium situation, we can remove it, we can solve it by adopting fiscal policy, monetary policy, and some other measures. So we should expand our economic activities. We should engage in more producing activities, so that we can get more advantages from international trade. And international trade, which is the main, which play very important role at present because no one country is self-sufficient in each and every aspect. So we sh- we should enter in this international trade and we should get more benefits from international trade. So, in today's session, we have discussed about international trade theories, mercantile theory, comparative cost advantage theory, absolute cost advantage theory, Hexter-Ohlin factor endowment theory, and product life cycle theories, new trade theories, advantages of international trade, and WTO, role of WTO, and different trading blocks. In next session, we will discuss about block 3. So